Hello, my Danganronpa doggos. You're listening to the Melovanium always, and as always, this is the Danganronpa Diary series. There are spoilers for all of Danganronpa 1 up to chapter 5. Also, I know endgame spoilers, so just don't watch this if you don't want spoilers. I am here to talk ever so briefly, as I am currently heading not into anything pertaining to chapter 4, but the Chapter 5 class trial. There will be no dedicated episode for Class 4. So get out of here if you don't want spoilers. I gotta just say everything and then get on with the rest of this. 3, 2, 1. Oh my god, Chapter 4 was awful. It wasn't terrible. It wasn't like bad. It was just so glum and so sad. I literally said like, wow, things feel so chill now that Celeste is gone, now that this final 6 or 7 is here, or 7 or 8 rather. They seem so cool. No. Sakura was no shit an actual mole the whole time, which is crazy, and I feel like I haven't fully processed that because the only ramification was that, so far, the only ramification was that she let slip about fucking Alter Ego, the Chihiro GPT laptop, which I knew was going to be killed anyway, because there was just no way Monokuma didn't know about that. So for me personally, I wasn't that into Chapter 4 because, I mean, it was so sad. Chapter 3 was straight up hijinks and antics and funny, goofy shit in hindsight, but Chapter 4 was just so glum and just driving a knife between Aoi and Sakura and the whole group. It was just, oh my goodness. I thought the ending was very beautiful. I'm very fond of Sakura now that she's out, but she killed herself. 3 separate people tried to confess to the murder. 3 separate people. 2 people thought that they killed her because they legitimately did try to kill her during the whole Chapter 4 altercation thing. They did not succeed. I am honestly a little bit foggy on some of the details here. It was just so much, and I was going so fast. But Sakura wanted to bring everybody together. She wanted to give everybody hope, but she knew that things were only going to get worse now that she had been found out as the mole. She was only the mole because she wanted to get out of here and survive and protect her family's 300-year-old dojo. So she was just trying to survive and protect herself. I think she might have gotten some kind of protection for Aoi by being the mole, but to be honest, what she got out of being the mole was very, very foggy to me. I don't even think if it was in English I would have totally comprehended it, but I don't really get what she got by being the mole. But there just didn't feel like there were that many ramifications for the fact that she was the mole. Kyoko didn't give a shit. Kyoko barely cared at all. The big, rug pull in the end was we basically, the beginning of the chapter, we get all the information in the laptop from Alter Ego, which Monokuma later reveals he was just going to tell us, which may or may not have been true, but it's true we probably could have just figured it out by using the damn laptop. We learn the shit about the crazy evil event from the year ago, the worst despair event in human history, and people. I think they admitted that the kids were trapped inside the school to be protected or something like that. So that starts to set up the whole crazy thing I saw in spoilers in episode 2, which is whatever. It's just okay. We haven't wrapped our heads around that, but Chihiro GPT taught us that, and then he was like, I want to be brave, connect me to the internet, and we brought him to this secret room that only Kyoko and Naegi knew about, but of course it wasn't safe, and he was taken, and the big twist at the end was this little execution for the laptop, which actually made my heart hurt, seeing the Chihiro face wince in pain. That was sad. Maybe I should put Chihiro GPT into the favorites ranking now, because honestly, he was really cute. I liked that whole plot device thing, but as fun as it was at first, in the end, it was just like, bruh, Monokuma's gonna find out. There's no getting around that, so with the Sakura stuff, it was all this infighting where Togami was like, you are no ally of mine, as if he thinks of anybody as an ally. Toko and Sho are just stapled to his waist, and my goodwill towards them was getting very strained, for sure. Aoi was starting to get into fights with people because they were being so mean to Sakura. A lot of people were like, we don't trust her, obviously she was a mole, but Sakura was doing everything she could to repair things, and even here, I think I'm a little bit confused, but like there were like these two different suicide notes. Like there was one suicide note that Aoi got, which implied that like Sakura was like in such terrible despair because I can't even keep the time stuff straight. It wasn't as crazy, goofy, convoluted as Celeste's murder spree, but it is hard to keep some of the stuff straight with what happened here. Basically, she drank poison. I forget why she had the poison on her. Like, she got hit by Yasuhiro when she tried to meet with him. I swear she was just trying to, like, patch things up with him. He hit her because he thought that she was going to kill him, which wasn't true, I don't think. Even though she had poison on her, I don't think that was true. The whole time Toko was actually in the closet watching and came out. There was, like, an altercation. Sakura was not trying to hurt her or Sho. And then they hit her with the fucking bottle again, thinking they killed her. But they didn't kill her. And I guess she just killed herself, but I don't know why she had the poison. I really don't know. But then Aoi finds her, and it gets this whole thing where like Aoi tries to make it look like she killed Sakura to put her out of her misery. But the thing with this whole chapter is Sakura killed herself, and the true suicide note that Monokuma had was this crazy motherfucker, this crazy long thing that explained like the judo backstory and that she was trying to help everybody and all this stuff. Very powerful stuff. But Aoi just thought that she killed herself because everybody was being a fucking asshole and wouldn't accept her back into the group. So Aoi, who I just called the heart of the group, Aoi, who I was praising for being so normal, Aoi, who I was literally pondering on like the beauty of the scene where she like holds Hifumi's corpse and like cries, and the tear like wakes him up, and then he says Yasuhiro, which seals Celeste's fate. I thought that was so beautiful how like that moment of genuine like sadness for this kind of pathetic creature guy like caused this like absolute like lock. Like that was it for Celeste. Like the fact that Aoi had this moment of kind of like hopeless like sympathy for Hifumi legitimately is what did in Celeste, and that made me like so pumped about foiling Aoi and Celeste in chapter 3. So much fun. Aoi tried to kill literally everybody and herself, and she almost got away with it. Aoi tried to make it look like she killed Sakura, which would be inaccurate and would lead to everybody dying, including herself. However, Sakura really wanted everybody to be allies again. We all had to watch the fucking laptop get executed. No one else died. And I have to be honest, we'll see after this class trial, I might reset Togami back to 0 favorite points because he was the first person to kind of accept Aoi's apology, if I didn't mistake that tone, and say like, whatever, that stupid attempt to hide the truth was more than enough apology or whatever like that. He was being very Tsun, but like he did immediately kind of like drops the hostilities with her, even though like they could have easily just iced her out after she tried to kill everybody, including Makoto, which is insane. Things aren't perfect. Toko and Sho are still kind of all over Aoi, but so far in chapter 5, because I just did chapter 5 investigation and beginning stuff because it was fucking crazy. It's been a decently cohesive group, and I feel like Sakura would be happy that everybody's working together. But oh my goodness, what the hell is chapter 5 been? So going into what feels like we're really getting into the climax now, it's funny looking back, the hints that I've gotten along the way, like, Moose saying I'm so close. Like, back when I used to say, someone is gonna poison the pool, or something like that to kill Sakura, she did get poisoned. I was 100% right about her getting poisoned the whole time. Goodness, though. Yeah, no, Aoi did not kill Sakura. All that happened in chapter 4 was Sakura killed herself, which was crazy. Chapter 5, oh my god. Oh my god. I'm gonna be so honest. I feel like I know that Kyoko dies. I've been trying to brace for this. It seems so obvious, and I've been trying to be ready. I've been predicting it, but now I've gone through this crazy adventure, and honestly, last night, I started crying thinking about the fact that I was about to see it happen. Like, oh my god, it's just so sad. But now that I've played all of this, I am legitimately so confused. I'm sticking with my prediction that Junko killed Kyoko, but it has been crazy because the kids know about Mukuro, the soldier sister, who was impersonating Junko. I know the spoiler that she was impersonating her. I've seen spoilers implying that she was the second person to die, so I want to believe she is dead. But this whole thing has been crazy. There is this masked person who appeared in the secret room to fuck with, not Takumi, I'm looking at Takumi, to fuck with Makoto. There is this masked person. And then the masked person appears again. And in chapter 5, the crazy thing is, like, Makoto has a fever, he's in and out of sleep, and in his room appears this masked figure with the knife, a knife that he got out of, Makoto's drawer. And then Kyoko appears. Kyoko had been missing because Kyoko had been doing, like, mysterious stuff, sneaking around into the headmaster's room, and she had just used, like, Makoto as, like, a disguise. She had disappeared. We didn't know if she was, like, dead. I thought maybe she had been, like, taken out, brainwashed. Now she was gonna be the person inside the mask or something like that. Kyoko's MIA, and she has been MIA. We find the masked person stabbed in a new room, a plant room in level 5, and they have a bomb planted on them. Oh, come to think of it. Holy shit, was that the bomb from... I don't think this will be relevant, but the Monokuma of the moment was dead. Before we find this corpse, the Monokuma of the moment was dead, and they were taking apart this robot, and Monokuma was not on any of the announcements, but they saw a Monokuma blow up and get repaired earlier, so I know there's multiple Monokuma robots, but for a bit, we were not being watched by Monokuma, we didn't know where Kyoko was, things were in disarray, and we got into the headmaster, not headmaster, but the mastermind's, like, camera room. So we made a lot of progress there, getting to escape, but Monokuma was back. But anyhow, we were going through a Monokuma robot's body. We took out the bomb. The bomb's missing now, but either way, something blew up on this stabbed corpse. This is the corpse that was stabbed on the ground, blew up. So we can't really tell who it is. I don't think the hair looks that much like Kyoko, but in my gut, I feel like it was Kyoko. It hasn't really hit me yet, but the thing is, like, we just don't know. We don't know who this body is. We're just about to do the class trial, but we don't know who the body is. We have on the right hand an insignia of the army that Mukuro worked for, Junko's sister, and 3 red, I think, acrylic nails. It's just weird. It's just weird because that hand would make sense on Mukuro because she would have maybe some acrylic nails left over from when she was impersonating Junko. But we saw her die. So if they wanted to dress up Kyoko's body to make it look like she was Mukuro and Mukuro was the masked person, sorry, new name, keep up with it. Everybody knows about Mukuro now. Even Monokuma the Third told us about Mukuro. Like, oh yes, Mukuro, the ultimate soldier, is the 16th student. Like, everybody knows about this character, the ultimate soldier. Although Kyoko discovered this on her own, she broke the secret about it. She told us as the ultimate despair, which is crazy. Because where did you get that information? Oh my god, dude. If they were trying to make it look like this corpse was Mukuro, but it was actually Kyoko, and that's why they blew it up, then why would you do the nails? Why would any of the kids know that Mukuro would be wearing fake nails? And the hair still looks like Junko. It doesn't look as long as Kyoko's hair now that the mask blew up and everything blew up. Like, the singed hair doesn't look like Kyoko, but I have to believe it is Kyoko to, like, brace myself, because, you know, Kyoko wears gloves, so she could have been covering up the Fafnir wolf tattoo I'm talking about on her hand. Except it's weird, I have no idea why she would have that tattoo, but then how could you wear gloves if you're wearing acrylic nails? So for me, the identity mystery is on the hand. It feels like it's pointing in every which direction, but if I'm being totally honest, because there's a tarp that was laid over the body, because the Fafnir tattoo is fading, which I don't know tattoos to do, there is fading on this tattoo, I just don't get the acrylic nails at all. Why would she have nails? Why would she have... I mean, okay, the explosion could have knocked off some of the acrylic nails, but... Okay, no, sorry, they're definitely acrylic. They're definitely acrylic because, yeah, 3 of them are long, 2 of them are short. They're definitely acrylic nails, and 2 of them blew off. Why would she have acrylic nails? Why would they... Did they just dress up the body to look like both of the Junko and the Mukuro? It's just crazy. It's just... But honestly, I think it's a corpse that was dressed up to look like both Junko and Mukuro, but it is Kyoko. And the person who just appeared in the elevator and said that she is Kyoko is Junko. And because when I asked Moose today at the stream, how do I get to chapter 6? And he said, follow your gut. I think he's confirming that I've always been correct, that Junko kills Kyoko in chapter 5. And the way to unlock chapter 6 is by being led to think that the killer was either Kyoko or Mukuro. Maybe Mukuro appears as an option, but you choose Junko. Because somehow you know, based on the acrylic nails or something. You choose Junko because chapter 4, when Sakura killed herself, taught us that we're allowed to vote for a dead person during the class trial. So I'm gonna go through the class trial. I'm sure there's some things I don't know, but that's my prediction. I'm gonna stick to it. I don't like it, but I'm gonna believe that Junko killed Kyoko in this fight, and this is an imposter because there's already been so much impersonation going on. And I get to chapter 6 by somehow solving the case on my own that Junko Enoshima is alive and killed Kyoko. Hope I'm wrong. Hi, I'm back. Is this cheating? I don't know. I think this might be cheating. I just started the class trial and I stopped because I realized that I do have the power to make a better guess. This could have been a dead body because there's a missing chicken. So they could have used the missing chicken to spill the blood. You spill the blood, so you take the survival knife, you kill the chicken, you spill its blood on the body, then you stab the knife in to make it look like this is a freshly stabbed corpse. Meaning, they would have had Mukuro's body hanging around. This corpse could be Mukuro's rotting corpse. And they blew it up to hide the fact that it's that. Sorry, I gotta admit that. In which case, Kyoko's not dead. And I'm wrong. You know, who gives a shit anymore? Let's just move that prediction to chapter 6. She survived chapter 5. Hello. Good evening, my beautiful Danganronpa doves. I finished the game. This is it. This is the last episode. I finished the game. Chapter 5 and Chapter 6 were so difficult to put down. As soon as I got locked in, I couldn't stop, and after the last message I sent here, I played for the better part of my waking hours for about 24 hours. I played, I think I started at like 3:45. I played until the recording, and then I kept going to almost 1 in the morning. So it was like almost 9 hours. Of Danganronpa yesterday. Then I woke up fully prepared for the chapter 6 final class trial, which took like it felt like it took forever, but I think it was like a pretty regular 2.5, 3 hours, and then there was some wrap up. So I spent around 12 hours burning my eyes on Danganronpa, and I have no regrets. People are like, oh, the series is so crazy, it's so wacky, but unfortunately, I don't know. I liked it a lot. I didn't think it was that crazy. Of course, there was the issue that I did understand the final twist. That would have blown my mind if it wasn't spoiled, but even then, I don't know. I just thought this was fun. I liked this story a lot. So this has suddenly impromptu become the literal entire second half of the game video, which is hilarious. And yeah, I talked about chapter 4, I talked about the whole thing with chapter 5's murder, and then I did the trial. and sort of the run back trial and the true investigation we had to do in order to win our freedom in chapter 6. So I will spend the first half of this remainder just kind of going over what actually happened, reflecting on some of my predictions, not going over in too great of detail the summary of the story, just the general strokes, as it's a lot to summarize, but at the same time, I need to try in order to process the fact that any of this was real and actually happened. So chapter 4, I haven't updated this yet. So chapter 4, oh boy, there is a big thing that I did not expect. I got the vibe that for whatever reason, fortune-telling guy was going to survive a lot longer than I would have expected. And I started to think, well, if he's going to survive a while, how many characters are going to make it to the end? I remember Moose said something like, oh, like you think everybody's like slated for the chopping block. I'm like, am I viewing things that way? Am I overly viewing this as something where almost nobody can survive? Because most of the series, I thought that pretty much only like 2 characters were gonna live. I thought it might be something where it's literally just like Byakuya and Makoto versus Junko, but now that I've seen the reality of it, that would have been very lonely. So my big thing I was not expecting with this game is that there was actually a group of 6 asterisk survivors. There was actually a survivor party, including Makoto, Togami, the rich guy, the fortune-telling guy, and Aoi. Oh, whoops, you can't see this. OBS, work with me. The surviving party, Makoto, Togami, fortune-telling guy, Aoi survives after everything, and Toko and Sho survive, which is the funniest thing. And after this first half wrap up, I will talk about just my thoughts on the characters, obviously. And one of my biggest ones is just like, what the fuck? Why did Sho survive this? She's going to jail. She's going to prison. One of the late game reveals was that this entire thing was televised. She revealed to the entire world that was watching that she is a famous urban legend serial killer. She's going to prison. She's going to be boring style executed. She's going to get the electric chair in Tokyo. I think that's so funny. But these guys survived the whole time. And they weren't the only ones. So I think I deserve some sort of credit for locking in so hard on, if Kyoko dies, she dies in chapter 5. If Kyoko dies, Junko kills her. I was right. But only in the bad ending. The absolute biggest thing about this whole thing for me is that I went into this like kind of emotionally anchored to Kyoko, and I'll probably talk a lot about Kyoko today. Kyoko is just kind of like my rock, and I think that's kind of by design, right? But I thought for sure that this was a gritty enough game that they would kill her. And I remember Moose's comments being like, oh, she's cooperative and smart, of course she's on the chopping block. We talked about a beta thing where she gets killed by decapitation. So I'm like, well, if there's a beta execution, I'm sure there's a real execution. And oh sure, there's a real execution. But she shares it with Makoto, and I didn't even see it. I was wrong about how you activate the true ending, but if you get the bad ending, Kyoko dies, I think for real. I didn't actually watch it, I don't really care to right now. Kyoko dies for real, and you get a bad ending. It's a kind of a scam class trial in chapter 5, and the same one continues in chapter 6. Junko is trying to set up Makoto and Kyoko, understandably, because they are right on her ass the whole time. She tries to set them up with the whole stabbing in the garden thing, and based on your choice of whether or not to reveal that Kyoko has lied about having the skeleton key, Kyokovania is a whole part of this. Kyokovania has been happening. She has a skeleton key. She's been sneaking around the school. And if you reveal that, it actually makes it look like she's guilty. So the final 7 will vote for her to die. But if you don't, and you stay quiet, you're like, okay, I trust that Kyoko's got my back. And Kyoko kind of just lets Makoto take the fall and die. And they both have the same execution, kind of understandably, because for some reason it seems like Junko legit doesn't know about the fact that Kyoko is a detective, which seems weird, but the execution is not detective themed. It's just the song for the two of them. The execution song for Kyoko is Extra Lessons for the Mysterious, and the execution song for Makoto is Extra Lessons for the Lucky. So they're referencing the lucky students and the question mark, the ultimate mystery, I guess ultimate mystery, the ultimate, I don't fucking know. So there's no like customized Kyoko execution, which to me was kind of a mercy because, you know, executions are so personal and stuff like that. But there was, goddamn, there was no execution for Kyoko, and in the true ending, she doesn't fucking die. My hope, the hope welling up in my chest as somebody who thought I knew for sure that she was gonna die, and then started having my hope be fueled by like Tumblr posts kind of maybe making it sound like it. There was one Celestia post where it was like, AU where Celestia survives so they can be together. I'm like, wait, Kyoko doesn't die? Like, you would think that was obvious, but I was so locked in on Kyoko dying that I thought she would. I get some kind of points because she does sometimes die, and Makoto sort of kind of dies in that scenario. But in the true ending, Makoto, right before the end, right before he dies, gets saved by Hype Moments and Aura, Chihiro GPT, who is making a debut later on the favorites ranking. I was so happy with that because they plugged him into the network. He like escaped, and the program got into like other computers in the school and was causing chaos, and I had no expectation for that. So it was actually a really fun moment. Like the TV screen turns from Monokuma about to kill Makoto to Chihiro GPT, and he saves Makoto, and Makoto gets rescued, and Kyoko saves him with the skeleton key and is like, shit, I'm sorry, and she dumps all this backstory as they are traveling together, and she's so sorry she like threw him away. And I kind of kept seeing death flags, but luckily that did not happen. It felt triumphant. Like after we got out of the junk heap where we got thrown with Kyoko, things felt so triumphant. And even though there was dark stuff in chapter 6, it really did feel so triumphant in a way that none of the other chapters did. 5 and 6 were really something different. It was hard to put them down, even though they were really long, like really properly, normally long, and then 6 was like extra long. But basically, in the end, it was all more or less just a big thing with the setup, the little fake murder, because they had to solve essentially the fact that Mukuro, who won't be making an entrance in the favorites ranking, even though she might have my favorite design, low-key, Junko's sister was being fake Junko when she died, and it takes a very, very long time to teach this to the kids, but Kyoko convinces Monokuma Junko to let them basically have free reign of the school and investigate all of the secrets here and expose the mastermind. And if they can do that, they go free. But if they fail, they all die. And this is the only way to kind of put things back on the rails for the mastermind, because now we know we're on TV after chapter 5. That's things start to break once you know that. And, the show is obviously coming off the rails. I guess this is a show, which is crazy. But, yeah, the class Saiban, the class trial is cooked. Like, the class trial isn't actually, like, this isn't true. Like, it's a setup. Like, this isn't actually a real class trial. So it's obvious that they're losing control over the students. And most importantly with the second half of the game, is I wasn't initially too happy about Sakura going out and everything like that. It felt like there wasn't enough like stakes, there wasn't enough weight to all of that. But honestly, in hindsight, it's crazy having her be the last death. It's sad that she didn't make it to the final 7. It really is sad that, as I really actually lasered in on, once Celeste was gone, right? Because people were being so cooperative when like Aoi and Sakura and Makoto thought they had to protect Celeste. They were being so cooperative. Everybody was working together so well. There really was this sense of unity, especially with fucking Togami and the Fukawas off to the side. The remaining people, before Chihiro GPT threw things into disarray and Celeste decided to act, they were pretty cohesive at this point, I thought. And then once Celeste was gone, I'm like, these remaining characters are pretty tightly knit. And unfortunately, Sakura being a mole was a really big deal. And now I can say, like, even though I didn't want to believe it, I think I like that plot twist a lot. It's still a little foggy for me what exactly she was getting out of it, but it seems like maybe she protected Aoi, and whether or not she did, she at least got the door open to the headmaster's room, which allowed Kyoko to start Kyokovania, where she starts getting keys and information and sneaking into rooms and doing a lot of really important stuff to save the day. I really like this character. And yeah, because Sakura, she also died trying to bring everybody back together, which I think is even more important, maybe. She got the literal door open where Kyoko was able to get info on Mukuro and the skeleton key, I think, which means she can go anywhere she wants. But I think, yeah, more importantly, the team feels more cohesive. And, yeah, I don't know. Obviously, there's still some goofiness when you look at these 6 characters. I have a lot of thoughts that I guess I'll talk about in the character section of the video, like them as a group. But yeah, things are just very different. Chapter 4 does feel like a somewhat normal like murder mystery thing, but even though they have the setup of a normal chapter in 5 and 6, things are moving so quickly. Things are coming off the rails. Even when I summarize it, I'm jumping around points, but it just becomes an all-out, everybody working together, solve all of the mysteries thing, and the bigger focus becomes the revelation that took me off guard back when I was making episode 2 of this, which is that they actually spent 2 years in this ding-dang school together before this, which I thought was the weirdest ass pull, and I was just not interested in when I was just viewing this as a killing game. But now I do appreciate it. I'm almost like, I wish I could spend more time with the characters. I was very susceptible to the pictures, the cute, like nostalgia, amber-hued pictures of them all having a normal, happy life together. Those were really effective because they wait until chapter 3 to bring them out. And, I don't know, man. Like, there were a bunch, especially when we were solving for the Junko issue. Like, there were so many cute pictures. Like, they were made so lovingly with so many details showing them all being friends. Celeste was always sitting in the back, not wearing a school uniform and not talking to anybody and not looking at the camera, which is so endearing. And, it was just really sweet, and in the end, I did really care about everybody. I've been getting the vibe that Danganronpa fans aren't super fond of this cast, because things get more, like, wacky and crazy and juicy going forward, but I am very happy to have played the order that I did, because I genuinely got pretty attached and invested, as this kind of diary series is a testament to. They were cool little goobers. I do have some I have some points of disappointment with the surviving 6, but more importantly, I'm just happy that there is a surviving party, and now I'm going to be curious, like, will there be more surviving parties in the other games? Because I never could have predicted, looking at the original cast, like, who would be in the final 6, or that there would be this final 6, but, yeah, once I saw, like, the CG of them all welcoming Makoto back once he crawls out of the trash heap and all that, it's like, oh man, they really are squad. They really are squad in a way that I never could have expected. God, yeah, aside from that, of course, I knew about Junko, I knew about all that stuff. There were some really good scenes. I guess I could call out some scenes that I like, because at this point, you get the gist of what happened with the game. We solve the mastermind, throw Junko in an execution, learn all this stuff, to have a very polite conversation over the class trial for like an hour about this mystery, like genuinely being walked through the mystery by the mastermind as we attempt to solve the mystery. We learn what's going on. What's going on is crazy. The whole, like, it's like a Monokuma, like, the despair cult, the despair organization, whatever they are. Junko makes it look like they took over the world, which was one of the scarier things to me. I'm like, ugh, hashtag 2025. Like, damn, that was kind of tough to see. I am curious. I would have loved to have seen, like, what is the actual state of the world outside, but I have a feeling that it's not as bad as I don't imagine that this is actually a new world order by the despair cult, the Monokuma cult that organized this whole thing. I don't imagine that it's as severe as Junko tried to convince them that it was to make them give up on trying to leave, because like how the fuck do you have Danganronpa 2 take place on Hawaii or whatever after that? Like, I just don't get how the story can continue if it's like that bad of like a societal takeover. That seems like it's, a prediction at best, but in reality, just something for the future. But no, like solving the mystery as we had it, there's this scene where we get into the room, not just the room where they watch everything, but the actual Monokuma cockpit where Junko has been controlling Monokuma, which is crazy because deconstructing like the animism of Monokuma, he accuses them of animism when they mourn their Chihiro alter ego is the name of the program, Chihiro GPT. He's like, why do you care about the death of a computer? Oh, is this animism? It's like, yes. You are literally a robot we are projecting feelings onto. They play with your feelings there every time Monokuma like stops working, breaks in a robot way, or we see somebody like controlling him sort of. It's weird because it's just, he is such a real, commanding, terrifying presence the whole time, but we get in and Makoto and Aoi find the control room, and there's this cute thing where Aoi controls Monokuma, which was just like 10,000 kyo on its own, like holy shit, that's Monokuma, but it's actually Aoi. It's so weird. And then they leave, and even though there's like they promised that during this investigation it would be like the whole school is open, the door's shut, they're being watched, and Monokuma pops up. And it's like, actually, you weren't alone. And it's creeped me out so bad because the whole time they were in the commander office thing, I think Junko was just straight up hiding in the ceiling, like alien style. She was just in there. It's so scary. And Aoi's like, oh no, it was my fault for wanting to leave. We could have caught her. It's like, yeah, theoretically, if the mastermind fell out of the ceiling and into our arms, maybe we could have had her caught, but don't sweat it, kid. That was pretty hard to predict. So yeah, this whole time, the mastermind is sneaking around the school, avoiding being seen. She's been in the Monokuma office. Yeah, nobody suspects that there is this missing student. I really liked this part. During the investigation, you find the corpse room, the morgue, sort of, the fresh objects freezer room. I don't know what it's called in English, but you find the room with everybody's bodies, which is already weird because, like, what is in Mondo's morgue? A can of butter? Like, a lot of, like, what is Celeste? Ashes? Why are you even using this morgue? Putting aside the possible plot hole of, like, do they care about preserving these bodies? You see 16 slots for 16 bodies, and only 9 of them are in use. And this is where I, not just like the person who already knows about the plot twist, but as a player was like, guys, when are we gonna talk about that? When are we gonna talk about the fact that there's only 9 bodies? Of course, they don't have to use this, but it seems like they're using this to represent that everybody's being captured and there's a missing body, which is such a fun way to reveal that. There's a long scene, I think it might be the last thing you investigate, where you're talking to Kyoko, and I'm jumping all over the place. You don't even know why we care so much about Kyoko yet. But talking to her there and putting that together and having this like pulsing, obvious mystery right there was so satisfying. It's worth noting now, I'm gonna miss this like first person inside the school atmosphere because it reminds me so much of Luigi's Mansion. Like, I've played so many similar games where you unlock parts of the map since then, but I'll never forget like being a kid, and again, I've played Luigi's Mansion like a dozen times, but being a kid and the first time you get to a new floor of the mansion feels so special. Like, whoa, it's a whole new floor. I feel like this school felt the same way every chapter getting a new section. Chapter 5, the 5th floor, had really good atmosphere. I thought that was very cool. And all the rooms were pretty interesting. Chapter 6 was freaky, the dad stairs in that part of the school. But I liked the corpse room. I liked the 5th floor. There's a lot of really memorable atmospheres and places where conversations happened. But Yeah, might as well get to the sparkly purple. Man, I never noticed that there. Secret area that unlocks in chapter 6, which I call the dad zone, because that's where Kyoko's dad lived. Because Kyoko's dad was the headmaster of this school. I knew Kyoko was a big deal, but I never realized how personally she was connected to this story. And it really got me. Like, her dad was the headmaster, and he chose to let all of these kids stay here and turn the place into a shelter, which, like, I read as a spoiler, but I couldn't emotionally process till now. He turned the school into a shelter during the, like, crazy despair cult takeover thing. And oh my god, there's like videos of him, like, doing the interview with every kid and being like, are you sure you're okay to spend the rest of your life in the school so that we can keep you safe from what's outside? And they're like, yeah, we're gonna die otherwise. So he was the authority figure, and the kids are trying to solve this mystery in Danganronpa of, like, who is the headmaster. And Alter Ego gives them the info, like, oh, there's a man in his mid-30s who had Kyoko pretty young in that case. There's signs that the headmaster is a man in his mid-30s, and the headmaster is Kyoko's dad. And we find the headmaster's room, and it's so normal, and it's just so comfy in a, like, divorced dad, just a dad type of space. Like, it just felt so real. And I'm like, oh my god, like, is this where Kyoko's been hiding? Is this, like, has she been sleeping in her dad's room? Her dad who left her when she was a tiny child, who she doesn't even care about, she just wants to meet to say one thing to, or whatever. Like, the reason I came here is to see this man who abandoned me, and he doesn't care about me. I'm like, okay. But then you get in there, and Makoto knows all this, and he's like, yo, that's a secret door. What's the password? She's like, I don't know. It's like, what if it's your name? She's like, I don't care if it's my name. And then he puts in the password. He puts in her name, and it just straight up opens. And I was so moved by that. Like, oh, it's such a cute symbol. That's such a cute friggin' symbol of the fact that he did care. He always was thinking of her. I don't know why they got so estranged, but there's still so much I don't understand there. I guess I have to read the Kirigiri novels. Don't have to twist my leg to make me do that, but oh my god. Yeah, that's one of my favorite parts of the whole game. You're in this room where the headmaster was staying, and Kyoko is, like, investigating her dad's stuff. And then you find the secret room, and there's a big present. And I'm like, oh my gosh, there's a present for Kyoko. He was looking forward to reuniting with her. And there's, like, a picture of her as a little baby on the desk. And she's like, this doesn't mean anything. This doesn't mean he cared about me. This doesn't mean I see him as my dad. But, like, you as the player are like, oh my god, he really cared about her. But inside the present box is his fucking skeleton. I hate Junko for this. I hate this so much. This was probably the most disturbing thing in the whole game for me, which by and large was not that disturbing of a game, to be honest, in hindsight. The tension was crazy. This tension and, like, the stakes were so crazy, the, like, claustrophobia was crazy, but what actually happened wasn't generally that disturbing. It was mostly just good fun, but this was gut-wrenching, and I didn't realize until I was watching the credits that we were given the pieces to understand the random ass dude who gets killed in the Monokuma rocket at the very, very beginning of the game, the intro cutscene that shows off the whole premise, that was totally the headmaster. I'm never gonna be able to look at that the same way. I thought it was just, haha, it's a dark game, Monokuma killed this random ass guy. Nah, that was Kyoko's dad. We open up the game with Junko controlling Monokuma, killing the headmaster and taking over the school, and the friggin' cartoon bones that come out of the rocket that you see inside the trash heap when Makoto is getting saved by Kyoko at the beginning of chapter 6, those same fucking bones are in a box. I hate that. In a secret room where the password was Kyoko's name. That's just so evil. Why would you think that was one of the most twisted things? For a girl who took over this delicate operation in order to torture everybody and farm their despair. The fact that she knew about this stupid hidden room where the password was Kyoko's name and was like, well, if she solves this somehow, I'll give her a treat. It'll be her dad's bones. I hate that. Oh my god, that was rough. But god, aside from that, yeah, it sure was a murder mystery. I mean, we were sleuthing right up till the end. I really liked the gameplay too. I ended up enjoying all the mini games. I especially liked the stupid spelling mini games because it made it like a language learning app for me. I feel like I was playing adult leapfrog. Like, how do you spell replaced? Ire kawari, maybe? I don't know. It was really fun. I'm like, oh my god, yes, I know this word. Or like, oh, I don't know that word. But I can guess it. Linguistics, go. It was genuinely satisfying for like just me as a very advanced second language speaker at this point. I love the machine gun rap battles. I love just the general shooting words gameplay. I got stumped on some things, but it was fun. Yeah, it was a good Gakyu Saibon. It was a good class trial all the way till the end. But that's pretty much it. I think it's just about time to move on to the character section. That was Danganronpa 1. I think Chapter 6 was one of my most favorite chapters. Chapter 4 I wasn't a huge fan of. Chapter 5 felt like foreplay for Chapter 6. Chapter 3 in the moment I didn't think I was that into, but in hindsight those were some funny antics and hijinks compared to you know, Sakura killed herself. Was it poison? Who did it? It's like, okay, it's a good detective food, but And then Chapter 5 was like, she was just framed, you know, like it was just a corpse being doctored and made to look like a victim. The bigger issue was like, who the fuck is Junko Enoshi? Who the fuck is Mukuro Ikebana? Chapter 2 I'm still pretty fond of. I thought that class trial was pretty fire. Now I understand, like, having Togami and the Fukawas take up, like, half of that stupid trial for no reason is setting up this, admittedly gross, toxic, I don't like it dynamic, but a dynamic that will last the entire game. They literally never stop being toxic and being who they are. Chapter 1's cute, I am fond of it. I guess, if I had to rank the chapters, I don't know if I have a clear number 1. But my favorites are 2, 3, 6, and then 1 is like pretty good. I guess 4 and 5 were some of my least favorites. I might say 4 is my least favorite, 5 is the next one, but the visuals of solving the murder mystery in front of the stupid Monokuma flower with the huge erect stamen was pretty funny. I couldn't believe nothing happened with the Monokuma flower. There were moments where I thought Kyoko's body might be getting put into the Monokuma flower. Oh no, that's right actually. One thing I loved about the Mukuro murder was the hand. The fact that there was this hand that gave away that it was Mukuro, but it gave away that it was Mukuro posing as Junko. That was so fun, but I also realized you could kind of see the outline of her hair if you look at the corpse, and her shoes were actually the same, so there were other tips, but I love the hand thing. The fact that Kirigiri hides her hands. Nobody notices that till now. She hides her hands. Mukuro had this specific tattoo, and she was wearing acrylic nails. That was really fun. I thought that the hand was one of the most fun mysteries of the whole thing for identifying the body. Just looking at all my notes here. I wouldn't say Chapter 2 is like my standout favorite chapter, so I don't know. Maybe I'll just be cute and say Chapter 6 is my favorite chapter, because a lot of hype moments and aura there. And then Chapter 2, Chapter 3, and then Chapter 1 is cute. Chapter 5 was fun. Chapter 4 was probably my least favorite, but I did come to like Sakura a lot because of it. And I guess I can appreciate the dour, gritty, noir tone. Things felt really, really dark. I thought I was still going to have to pace it like 3 days at a time when I was playing Chapter 4, but nah, Chapter 4 I had to take piecemeal. Chapter 3 I should have taken piecemeal, but Chapter 5 and Chapter 6 were just a constant ride. So yeah, any more notes? Yeah, Sakura really changed things. Began the Kirigiri Vania, Final 6. I still kind of think, even if the detective work was more fun in Sakura's case or Mukuro's case, I do think that it's funny how much Celeste was the best like killing game player in my mind. Like she really like took the assignment we thought we were being given in the first half. Because in the second half, it doesn't feel that much like a killing game anymore, and I wonder if that changes in the other games. But in the first half, it felt like it was going to be this rote killing game every time where there's a murderer and a victim. And then in the end, the second half was way more freeform. But Celeste really did have, I think, the most elaborate, goofy, impossible, crazy murder. Maybe I'm just biased, but I feel like my hopes for her having this crazy mastermind moment did pay off because there was nothing masterminded about Sakura killing herself. And, Junko was just using a corpse to frame everybody with info they didn't have. I feel like Celeste was the real, like, killing game god, you know what I mean? Mondo just killed Chihiro and jumped the body in the other room on a whim because he was getting seduced to killing. Sakura and Leon were just doing the most like basic murder ever. They just stabbed the person and ran basically. But Celeste really was kind of the queen of killing games in my opinion. Like I feel like they really got their mileage out of her character, which makes me very happy. Big surprise. Do 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 do. Feels like we should be playing graduation music right now. These are the final rankings for the Danganronpa 1 first impression favorites list. Very, very hard to read now, so I will zoom on in. We got... Actually, zooming in is quite hard. Whoops. Makoto. I saw a note from the character designer for Danganronpa and 100 Line about the inspiration with Makoto, and it was like, I picked colors that I like. Green seemed good. I gave him a hoodie because you could identify him more easily from behind. Also, I made him short to emphasize his herbivore nature. And I think herbivore nature really endeared me to Makoto. I'm like, oh, he's like a grass type starter. He's very meek and mild. I ended up bumping him all the way to 6.5 because, as I said, Takumi being much bigger and 100 Line to me because you can see him. In the later cases, people are kind of like on Makoto's ass a lot during the trials. He's actually taking the heat and being like framed and scapegoated like kind of a lot. So you see him having to stand up for himself. He kind of grows into like something or other of a character. And the final reveal where Kyoko is like, after all, you must have been the ultimate hope. I was like, oh, it's so cute. I am not ready for him to become Komaeda. That's a bridge that I'm now legally allowed to cross. I'm like, no. This is a happy ending. This is a happy ending. There's no way he's gonna become Komaeda. I'm not ready for that at all. I like Danganronpa 1 Makoto. I don't like him as much as most protagonists, but 6.5 is good. I'll just kind of skip around a bit. It ties him with Sayaka, who obviously didn't do anything, but having seen the whole game, wow, those two moved really similarly the whole time, just kind of growing more and more on me. I really loved chapter 1 in hindsight. Just kind of spending time with Sayaka and getting connected with her. I don't feel like learning to be connected to somebody through her was a waste. I don't feel like the game was teaching you to be like stoic and detached. I love the time I spent with her. I love that she's kind of our starter Pokemon friend, and her sprites were so cute, and her voice was so cute, and her little bit with like I'm an Esper was one of the best things in the whole game. So in the end, I can't put her too high because there just wasn't a lot to work with, but I booted her up to 6.5, which is a pretty popular tier. Now I kind of just want to go through the 6.5 tier. Mondo hit that briefly, but then I brought him down. Yeah, Mondo I liked a lot. In future playthroughs, I might become even more fond of him. I liked him, but yeah, he was 6.5. I brought him down intentionally. 6 is fine for him. I'm fond of him. But another character who finished at 6.5 is Aoi. Aoi finished at 6.5. So Aoi was very prominent in chapter 4. Aoi almost killed all of us because she was so heartbroken about Sakura and wanted to avenge her, which is fucking insane and still stands out as one of the craziest parts of the whole story. I was really glazing her, and I know I said this last night when I recorded, I was really glazing her as like the heart of the group. But now I'm starting to understand something I saw out of context where someone who made a popular DR video and said like she liked Aoi but wasn't that positive got sent a harassment train of actual gore of actual human women by some deranged like otaku on the internet because he was like, you have to love my waifu Aoi more. That dude is insane. I'm not saying everybody who dislikes Aoi gets gore, but like if it's kind of like a touchy subject to dislike Aoi, I kind of get that now because I do really like her, but I feel like she peaked early where she was one of the only normal people, and I thought it was just so nice how normal and genuine she was. And after chapter 4, like, I'm like, no, like she's willing. She tries to kill Yasuhiro maybe 3 times, not in cold blood, but during the trials. Like, she fucking hates that guy. And I'm not saying you have to like him, because like he's awkward and annoying and like 6 years older than her probably. So like there's that dynamic of like, get your life together, bro. I don't think there's anything wrong with Aoi, but when we're talking about kill order, I kind of don't think she really had that much to give. I feel bad. I clearly have a lot of funny feelings. I like the final 6. I'm so happy we had a final 6, but there was the 3 complicated smart ones and the 3 kind of comic relief grounding ones, and I don't, it's not like I have nothing but positive things to say about the other 2 members of the lighthearted group, and I do really value Aoi as a breath of fresh air, but like, she just didn't have a lot going on, and that became more and more obvious as time went on, where she was like, I know what will lighten the mood. Donuts. Yeah, Aoi. Yeah, donuts. Sure. I like her a lot, but the fact that Sakura died in order to establish the top 6, when Sakura might have been a more interesting character to spend more time with, I don't know. I'm not going to touch that because I still love both those characters, and I don't want to like disrespect what happened here. Sakura as like, I think one of my favorite things about late game Aoi was the fact that she was fighting for Sakura and thinking about Sakura until the very, very end. Like, she had a good line about how once they leave the school, they're saying goodbye to everybody, and she starts by saying like, oh, I have to say goodbye to Sakura. I like that a lot. The fact that she so sincerely cared about one person was very refreshing. So there's a lot that I like about her, but yeah, under the pressure of surviving until the bitter end, there were moments where I was like, okay, but like, if we're making the Aoi Tsubasa comparison, which kind of makes my stomach feel icky because like the way that Kodaka uses tan skin is just kind of I don't know, he just slaps it on everybody, but then nobody's actually treated like they're legitimately black or brown, and he whitewashes them. He whitewashes them extra if he wants them to be attractive, and then he doesn't if he doesn't. Like how Sakura stayed with her normal skin tone during comics, but then Aoi would get whitewashed. And then Tsubasa in 100 Line gets whitewashed, but then Takamaru doesn't get as whitewashed. It's weird. The whole Aoi Tsubasa comparison actually makes me a little bit uncomfortable because I feel like both characters sometimes get like ooh-woo, wholesome beanified by the game, and that's just kind of a weird thing to do with a character, but if Tsubasa is a character who is almost like Aoi 2.0 in some design, looking at the original Aoi, it's like she really needed like one more character trait. I get why some people might get mad at me for saying that, but yeah, my first time through, I liked her, but she hit a certain limit. A character who also hit a limit is Yasuhiro II, who maybe had the biggest glow up of any character. He started at like I don't know, 3.5 or 3, and he finished at 7 as my favorite Danganronpa 1 guy. He's not a perfect character. There are a lot of things I would change. Looking at fan art, I'm like, was he supposed to have dreadlocks or not? I never thought about that too much. I don't really understand him. But by the end, when we were being given free time, and I did not want to have free time, I was like, fuck it, I'm giving ramen to Yasuhiro, we're gonna talk about whatever. Was he always the funniest character? No. Was he largely just the butt of a joke? Yes. Fortune telling, I feel like just never was that big of a deal. If anything, he just had more of like lazy con man energy, and maybe that is the joke. Maybe it's just making fun of fortune telling stuff, but he had funny sprites. He has a like funny, good design. I like his voice. I like the Kansai dialect or whatever, Dabe. And I don't know. I just kind of liked him. And like he was kind of my favorite of the light-hearted comic relief type B team half of the surviving 6. So, yeah. It sure was a ride. I was predicting his demise all of the time, but after Moose said like, yeah, he's not doing anything yet, I was right to be tipped off that he had more of a destiny. Yet he still really didn't do that much. It's funny that he called himself the leader in chapter 3. It's really funny that he called himself the leader in chapter 3 because that holds no water. He is just being dragged around, but I liked him enough. I felt like his banter with Naegi was like just enough chill to keep things moving. So I like that. Some other knockout ones. Hifumi, I don't know why I brought him down to a 1. I put him back up to an honorable 2. Hifumi is kind of the epitome of early kill order because I have almost no questions about this character. There were no intriguing elements. There was like nothing I wanted to see toyed with more. He was just Hifumi, and he was fine, and I was not particularly attached. Perhaps rudely transitioning, Chihiro got up to a 4.5 and just stayed there. I liked Chihiro enough. He was cute. I really liked the long-term impact he had on the story by creating alter ego. He has a nice color palette. I didn't find that much to connect with Chihiro, but oh my god, alter ego, one of our friends, a Nakama, this creature, this AI chatbot is debuting at 5.5 because no, there is not a lot to dig my teeth into. No, he was not like a huge part of the story, and yet, by God, we got a lot of mileage out of alter ego. Like, that was a plot thing for a decently long time. There is such a great amount of tension around the laptop and protecting it. Those scenes where we were talking to him and getting information was like legitimately interesting and different and felt like we were moving forward. Just all of the tension around trying to hide it from Monokuma was fun, but in the end, like, not only did he have a gut-wrenching shock death, but he also came back and saved Makoto in what was a legitimate, just awesome, hype surprise. I thought that alter ego was like a nice part of the story, and I never could have predicted what I was looking at when I saw him on the Game Grumps thumbnail. Some more ones. Toko and Sho are not going to be mentioned yet. Sakura, yeah, I've been dancing around Sakura. I ended up putting Sakura a few points above Aoi. I moved her up to 7. Her and Yasuhiro technically made my top, what would that be? My top 6? Technically they're tied for 5th or something like that. At 7. I don't know, I might not always be somebody who gives this much love to Sakura, but this first playthrough, the more that I sat with Sakura, the more that I appreciated her. I had to warm up to her at first because, I don't know, like I didn't quite know how to wrap my head around her, but she was just such a good, straightforward character. And I was saying like Aoi is like too straightforward, but there's just enough going on. Like, she really cares about her friends, but she also cares about this sense of duty to her dojo at home. And the mole made everything super crazy. And at first I wasn't sure I loved that plot point, but in the end, like, she was the mole. She just straight up was a mole from day one. And that's crazy. Like, she was already a really interesting, like, cool character and part of the gang, but the fact that now I know from day one she is just straight up double crossing us, that's weird. That's one of the coolest parts of this game, and that made her stick with me. And she 100% succeeded in unifying the final six with her death. Like, it was heavy and sad, but she really did what she wanted to do there, and I can't deny, like, she was definitely one of the better parts of the game for me. So I was pleasantly surprised. For a long time, it was hard to separate Aoi from Sakura, but now I can say, like, they are two separate good parts of this game that I liked. Leon was not much of this game, but I did like him. He was very handsome and had a good design, and I thought his whole gimmick was funny. I could have totally standed to see him last longer. Like, he wasn't a riot or anything, but I really liked the whole, I'm the ultimate baseball player, but I don't care about baseball. I want to be a musician. There was just something goofy about him. And honestly, I don't know if it would have been as flexible of like a bit compared to Yasuhiro's just general like man failure energy, but I almost could have seen Leon just be Yasuhiro and be this funny, whatever, like, I don't know, goofy guy type of character for the whole game. I think he would have done decently okay if maybe a little bit outstayed his welcome like Aoi. Feels bad to say that about anybody, because if they outstay their welcome, they fucking die. Kiyotaka, not much has changed, but since it's the last episode, I liked him. I thought he peaked around chapter 2. He was funny, but I didn't really care that much about his whole freak out. Having the dynamic character change was fun. The Mondo thing was fun. I felt bad for him when he died, but overall, he was okay. I definitely felt lonely when he was gone, but I wasn't particularly, like, attached to Kiyotaka. Okay, now, nothing but banger topics from now on, huh? Togami. The internet likes Togami. I don't. I'm probably not alone. I understand, like, oh, pretty boy, he's a little bit tsundere. I'm gonna imagine that he's actually so nice and such a funny uwu bottom or whatever. Like, not using any of that magical Fujoshi sauce on him. He's just a dick. Like, he's just a dick. And I didn't feel particularly swayed to, like, sugarcoat anything about him. However, he went up a total of 3 points from -2 back to 1 over the course of being in the final 6, because once he survived the Toko trial, where I thought maybe he would be a shock death for some reason in chapter 2, I knew he was going to survive the whole thing. I knew he had what it takes to be a last surviving character. He is very interesting. He adds a lot to the story. I appreciate the antagonism and, like, you know, the sense of tension he adds, but I just don't like him very much. However, I like him a little bit. And one line that was the standout for me was he was the first person to say kind of like, it's okay to Aoi, and he did it in his usual way, but Aoi was like, sorry for trying to kill literally everybody there. He's like, you've already apologized to us with that half-assed cover-up or whatever, which is funny because he himself tried to do a stupid cover-up and kill everybody. Like, I think he knew it wasn't gonna, like, fizzle out, but the two of them did both briefly fuck with the investigation. Probably not trying to kill everybody in Togami's case, but they both did that thing. I just hate the whole, I'm just uncomfortable with the whole Togami Fukawa thing. It had its moments, but it only had them because it was so constantly present. I mean, I could see why that would just ruin the game for some people. It's just, it's dynamic. They're dynamic characters, and they can, like, cause funny moments here and there, but it is undeniably just the same bit of him being an asshole to this girl, or these girls, for the entire game. And it's just not fun. He starts off as an asshole, and he continues to be an asshole, but at least he's helpful sometimes. I don't know. I am fine locking that in. Editor's note, I forgot to say this, but this is the one thing I have to mention. I've gotta give a Togami token to the fact that he took the news the entire Togami family was dead, just completely on the chin. And even though I thought he might be the one person to turn on Makoto and give in to despair in the end, he fucking rolled with it. It looked low key cool, and I actually thought that was another good scene. Like, that was nuts. It was this like hour-long discussion with Junko about the state of the world and all this stuff happened, and then she just turns like, who shot Hannibal? She just turns, by the way, the entire Togami clan is dead. Like, whoa, 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 why does he get this like specifically wrapped trauma bomb? That's like the crux of his identity. And he's like, I'll survive as the last scion of the Togami clan. I'm like, fuck! We should have spent more time with that. You should have done that reveal back in like chapter 5. You should have found that out in his freaking. If he found that out in his friggin' memo or whatever. Did he? If he found that out in his friggin' video from Monokuma in chapter 2, then that is the kind of twist that would have made me like him. If the whole time he was dealing with like needing to get out because the entire family was dead, that would be cool. I don't know. It's just funny she threw that loaded hot potato at him and nobody else in the middle of the whole breakdown. I guess that is a good enough time to talk about. No, I'm gonna talk about Celeste, right? Because there's less to say. Having looked at everything, I know what I'm gonna do. Having looked at everything, I left Celeste at 8.75. Again, this isn't in isolation. After the last episode, I don't have much more to say, but Celeste was one of the standout parts of this game to me. I was so surprised. I didn't know anything about this character. There were so many other popular, like, subculture girlies. Like, I didn't think anything about her at first, but I was really in awe of how well designed she was as a mid-boss character, how well designed she was as like a gothic Lolita character. I love the commitment to synergy, where like I've said it so many times, but you can immediately understand her in a certain sense. Like, she is meticulous, she is ruthless. Like, every day she gets up and does her hair and does all this stuff to look perfect. Like, she just has this super intricate way of living. She's so dedicated to what she does, and that comes through in her like intensity with how she approaches the death game. She's able to help you when it benefits her, but you know she's not your friend. And then she goes and makes probably the most elaborate, goofy, entertaining, holy crap, she almost killed everybody murder in the whole thing. And what is it for? It's for money to build a castle to be a frickin' Tiaboo in France. I thought that was so good. There was nothing but blackness in her heart, except for that moment when she caused Celeste Geary, because she had such a good dynamic with Kirigiri, and she gave them the key to save Alter Ego, because Alter Ego was a really fun part of this story. Celeste was so good. I was so fond of her. That was a huge surprise win. I maybe possibly have more things to say about her this month. But now it's time to talk about Junko, which I have not done. I knew I would like Junko, but I didn't know how much. And after grinding to see her for like what felt like a dozen hours, I finally saw her, and I didn't quite know how to process it. Like, it finally happened. Junko Enoshima joins the class trial. Monokuma has been discarded. We're just talking to her. We got all the new sprites. We have her true form, more or less. And I was like, who is this? Like, part of me was just like, I've been looking forward to it for so long. It finally happened, and I was like, what? It definitely would have been more fun if I didn't know. I'll never pretend that's not true. I do try to not spoil that for my friends. It seems very hard to avoid. But even knowing it, it was so fun. And the way she's introduced in her one scene where she has to give all of her aura, basically, is awesome. She is 100% final boss material. I love how much taller she is than Aoi. Like, we see her doing this crazy final boss shtick, and then it pans to one of our friends who we've spent all these hours with, and the difference is crazy. It's just like, whoa, like, wait a minute, that girl is really something else. it's just nuts. Like, especially like Aoi, Yasuhiro, we just feel like such normal people, like developed people, compared to this crazy ass cartoon character villain. She is crazy. I don't fully understand the whole like Doom Syndicate shit. Like, I don't understand the whole Despair Society stuff, but she is really, really fun. And my favorite part of her, honestly, was interestingly enough, when I met Mukuro, I immediately thought, yo, Junko Enoshima does not look the way I thought she would, which meant that it was working. But a lot of the things that I didn't associate with Junko, like facial expressions, actually ended up being there in her last set of sprites. After you go through the whole rigmarole, where she has her like 6 different personas, which are really funny, once she is legitimately about to be put to death, she starts to like, she starts by going blank face. And I'm like, oh, that blank face, that's the real her. I think that feels like her real self. And she says when she comes in, like, I haven't seen another person in so long, I don't even know what character I'm supposed to play. I'm like, Jesus Christ, that's kind of nuts. But you can tell in the end, like, the real her, kind of. And those sprites, they all have a certain energy where I'm like, that's her. I feel like that's her. I love the range. I love the crazy cartoon villainy stuff. Like, I love all of that. But I really kind of connected more with the self that she presented at the end when she was kind of being more just, like, real. And it's kind of interesting to think that that's the one that, Mukuro presented more. Her sprites looked more. The final set of sprites that Junko has when she's talking before her execution look a lot more like Mukuro's Junko sprites, and that Junko I kind of connect with. I don't know. I think she's just seems kind of cool, like, beneath it all. Of course, she's fucking nuts, but I don't know. Like, I never knew what Junko Enoshima would be like, and fandom from afar did nothing to prepare me because there's just so much going on. But in the end, like, she's a cool character. She's not a good person. She's a bad person. She makes Celeste look like kitty shit, basically. And she's so funny because, like, she has to be able to do this whole shtick, all of her different hilarious personas, because she's Monokuma, because she's been Monokuma the whole time, because she's this crazy sadist. She was really funny, and they managed to drop that tiny bit of, like, there's a person in here, but then deep down, like, she's just gone. But so long, and thanks for all the kyo. I gave her 7.75. I was just waiting to debut her. All the points before kind of came from, like, the idea of her, and I guess, like, the gist of her design from Mukuro's design. Mukuro would also do, like, decently well just based on her design, I guess. I have to remember, like, she seems like the more grounded one compared to Junko, but they're both the ultimate despair, so don't get too attached. But her design in the pictures was really cute. Probably my favorite design of any character here, but she's a soldier in the ultimate despair. I probably wouldn't connect that much with her, but I still put Junko in my top 3 because, like, it's fucking Junko Enoshima. She was so funny. She's such a riot, and I can't wait to, like, talk about her with my friend Liz, who's been really interested in her. But, we're getting to the really big ones now. And you know who barely didn't make it into my top 3? Aoi, Sakura, Celeste, Yufumi. The Fukawas. I was a fan of Toko in the beginning. I thought Toko was fine. When they were together in the ranking, they hit up to 7, it looks like, and then they went down once I separated them. I like Toko. I think she's funny. I think she has good sprites and funny hater energy. However, that is not a character I thought would make it the entire game, and the whole Fujoshi, like, please, like, hit me daddy thing just was not funny or easy to connect with for me. It was just kind of like, okay, and now it's Toko's time to speak. Like, she's funny, she's kind of a mood, but I just didn't connect with her, and as a Toko, she fell down to 5 points. But holy shit, Sho was one of my favorite characters. She came out with another crazy moment in the final trial that genuinely made me have to put the game down, where they are going through all of the shit about the memory loss problems that caused all of this, and all of a sudden somebody realizes, wait a minute. You wiped Toko's memory, but did you wipe Sho's memory? And I popped off because, like, obviously, this is a specifically dissociative identity disorder story, and I've been talking about how it feels a bit like a weird stereotype, but the fact that they used the idea of the reality that alters can have their own memories and made that a pivotal plot point later on was fucking awesome. I thought that was so cool. Like, Toko and Sho were already so fun the whole time after chapter 2. I just liked them, and again, this whole time I'm like, girl, you're going to jail after this. Like, why are you not worried? Like, as soon as the TV thing came up, it's like, girl, if we escape here, you're not going with everyone. The whole world knows you are a serial killer. She's just so over the top and funny, but then having her save the day by not having her memory have been wiped because the ultimate despairs weren't factoring in how alters work was really cool and felt like a legitimately neat way to like give power to a DID system in a story like this. So that really endeared me, and I left things on a very high where Sho got 7.5 and was my fourth favorite character because she's just so funny every moment. Like, she got annoying too with the Togami thirsting shit, but she was funnier about it. So there's that. Shifting tones. She didn't make it all the way, but she did do what she had to do. We're ending with a total shot in the random whatever out of the blue. Kyoko was my number one character. I really like Celeste, but Celeste is just Celeste. Kyoko was a very special character. I really liked Kyoko, and I mentioned before, like, I was actually starting to get really sad about the fact that I thought she was just gonna get whacked and we were gonna have to fight in her honor. I was like, what? I couldn't fathom a world where she survived the whole time, but she did. She just kept surviving, and like the noodles on her head in the sewer, and just the burned hand that she had to hide from everybody, like, she's just such a cool character, and I'm really excited to like read more about her. I started crying just listening to the recording. I started crying again just listening to me talk about Kyoko the next day after recording this. Fuck this character. Her in the light novels, because obviously like there's way more than you can put in a game like this, but she's just a really cool idea for a character, even though she's not that far out. She's just a detective. Like, she's just a cool detective basically, but I don't know, I just feel like sometimes a simple idea doesn't have to be boring. And I mean, I couldn't have fathomed how intimately connected she was. I thought that maybe I would end up giving her second and letting Celeste win this because, you know, I've been obsessed with Celeste the whole time. She's the best of the best. But oh my god, the shit with her dad was really so crushing. And like, I'm not really one for like super stoic characters. I have a complicated relationship with stoicism for sure, but you know, if I don't see things going on in a character, it can be hard to like remember they're happening unless it's written well. But during the very ending where you have to convince everybody to like, you know, have hope that things are going to be okay, and you're not allowed to convince her, I was thinking like, you know, is it because she's already resolved to have hope and not sacrifice Makoto in fear, which is supposed to be the final gambit? And I was thinking, like, you know, I actually wondered because multiple times during the final trial, you had the option to use the picture Kirigiri's dad had of her as like a truth bullet. And I'm like, why would that ever be the thing? I wondered if you didn't copy the word hope from Makoto and use it on her like everybody else, I kind of wondered if using the picture would also work to give her hope. You know what I mean? I wondered if that would function the same way as hope. But I actually did all of that on half of a heart. I had half of a heart through the last couple mini games, so that was very hype. I did not try that. She was very elegant in how she said it, but she was really fucked up about the discovery with her dad. And I wondered if she had kind of given up inside because she did all of this to see her dad, who she didn't care about at all. But in the end, like finding out that he loved her and he was dead is just and the fact that all of this was done because her dad was trying to protect these kids and partially her is crazy. Like the fact that this was actually all a Kirigiri family story in addition to the, I don't know, Despair twins is really crazy. And I'm sure as I replay the game, she will like settle in my mind and grow and grow and grow as like a super, super, super big cornerstone of it. But even just already, I feel like I've only met her. I feel like I've only barely met her, but she hits different. I think you have to play the game. You have to play the game to understand because they create such an amazing sense of claustrophobia and everything feels so dark and so serious, but she's just always there. It's I get it. Like I get why people like Hiroko so much. Like I mean, even at the same time, no, I don't. Like I haven't played that much of 100 Line where Hiroko is able to be that for you, but those characters who are able to be your rock in such a scary situation are so cool, and it just really hits a personal point for me. I want a Metroidvania of her running around and using the key on things and trying not to get caught. That was a very fun thing. But man, yeah, during the time where you didn't know if she was safe or not, if you didn't know she had been captured, and you didn't know if it was her who was the corpse, it was really tough. It was really tough. Just she has a special place in the story. She's a very, very effective character, and I think she kind of transcends it, or maybe is emblematic of the whole game. Because, Makoto's cute, but this is really Kyoko's game, in my opinion. It's just, her sprites were so good, too. They were good in a subtle way, right? Like, I fucking love that smirk when she's happy. Like, that is hope. That is the symbol of hope to me, is Kyoko being like, nah, we got this. Or like, nah, I'm gonna say something dumb. She's just so cute and strong and, oh my god. I don't know. She was just kind of the crux of the game. One kind of last note, as I mentioned, how Aoi felt like the heart of the group, and I think where I lost connection with Aoi was when, like, yeah, she's still very sincere, but I don't know if I could call her the heart of the group anymore. Moreover, I think at the beginning of the game, Sayaka is kind of your emotional rock. Like, if anybody understands you, it's Sayaka. During the middle of the game, Kyoko is like your special friend, but you haven't been through that much yet. Like, they get a lot closer at the end of the game. I honestly think Aoi is kind of a interesting character because even though you're not that close, she is able to be this very clear, like, if I feel a way, Aoi probably feels that way. And I'm not trying to shame Aoi for like having her own development and feelings and stuff, but by the end, it was Kyoko. Kyoko was the one who, though Togami wanted you to be suspicious of her, she was the one who, if I felt a way, Kyoko probably felt that way. And she was always there to back me up. So even though the game at the beginning was like, no, you can't just have your special friend and get away with it. And then chapter 4 is like, whoa, those two were so friendly and now they're fucked up. I mean, there's a theme in this game, right? At the beginning, it's Sayaka betrays you. Then it's, whatchamacallit, Mondo and Kiyotaka. Kiyotaka goes crazy because Mondo did what he did. Aoi and Sakura kind of get split apart, but then like in the end it's fine. But in the end, Kyoko is your homegirl. Am I wrong? Kyoko is your friend, and Kyoko is such a cool spine. She's like the spine of this cast. She's like the spine of this game. And it's so fun seeing her showdown with Junko, even though in the end she's not that flashy. She's not that crazy. She's just herself. She never gets carried away. She never even like goes off like you killed my father. She just is chill and cool. And it's not often I like characters like that. I usually prefer that they're more expressive, but I understood it. I understood her. Like bitter chocolate. I kind of got it. And now I have Celeste Geary, which is the bitterest chocolate of all, and I'm fucking done! I'm going to bed! I don't want to be up at midnight tonight. I don't want to be up at midnight. I'm going to bed, man. This has been so fun. And it's been such a ride, and yet somehow it's already over, which is to say, it's definitely just the beginning of a new chapter. I'll be back when it's time for Danganronpa 2. I am so glad I got this done so early in the year, and I can digest it and do other things and not be in the Academy of Despair, so that I can go back to the Island of Despair with a full heart once it's time to do that, and that is the next time we will do this whole rigmarole. See you next time, my Danganronpa darlings. So y'all like fun post-credit bombshells that set up the next movie, right? That's fun. We all like that. I need to never touch Danganronpa Wiki again. When I looked at Danganronpa Wiki, I saw that Kyoko has sprites for Danganronpa 2. And I said, that's fine. I bet it's just like the beginning where they explain some of the questions I have about what happened between these games. But now I'm wondering, is she in some kind of flashback involving Komaeda, who is Makoto, in some kind of split personality? And now I'm wondering, when Moose at the Mooses, my dear friend and subscriber, said Komaeda killed a goth girl, and I thought he meant Ibuki, and yet Moose also refers to Hiriko as a goth girl, although her style is a bit debatable. And Moose said that he likes Hiriko because she reminds him of Kyoko. Does Makoto kill Kyoko as Komaeda as part of the fucked up Komaeda stuff? I'm officially afraid of Komaeda until my Danganronpa 2 era. Thanks, I feel unsafe again. 100 despair.